we have a really big misunderstanding and underestimation of what service is, right? We have an underestimation of exactly what love is, right? Because that's exactly what service is, right? Service is an expression of love, right? We give of ourselves for the betterment of others. We lower ourselves so that we can pick other people up, right? But there's an element in the picking of others up that we neglect, that we misunderstand, right? We get the lifting part, the heavy lifting we understand, right? We have that down to the T, right? We don't mind visiting the homeless. We don't mind giving shelter to the homeless. We don't mind praying for the sick. We don't mind visiting and ministering to the prisons, right? The heavy lifting part is something that we have down to a science. But that missing element, that underestimated element, is something that we are unfortunately neglecting. And that is strength. That there must be an already established strength in us in order for us to be able to lift another. We understand the importance and our responsibility to cause level change in others, but we neglect the fuel of that ability to cause level change. The strength. That strength must be established prior to lifting, right? And how is strength established? Often strength is established through a history of lifting heavy things, right? Working in construction, just a familiarity with lifting heavy things causes you to be strong, creates in you strength, right? And for us to lift someone for long periods of time, that means we must maintain that ability to lift, that we must maintain our strength. And that's the element that we neglect, the maintenance of us, the maintenance of our strength, the maintenance of our ability to maintain, to lift others, to cause level change in another person long term. Which means that the maintenance of your strength is equally as important as lifting others. Because there's not one without the other. There's no lifting without strength. So the maintenance of your strength is equally part of your ministry. Neglecting one is neglecting the other. So your strength, your ability to maintain long term is part of your ministry as much as visiting the prisons. You are equally part of your ministry. There's not one without the other. Maintaining yourself, fixing you, honing you, making sure you're okay is equally a part of your ministry as visiting the elderly. Let's look at a verse that will explain that just a little bit better than I can. Let's look at 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter. And we're going to look at the 16th and 17th verse. 2 Timothy 3:16 and 17. And it reads as follows. All the scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all works. Let's look at the 16th verse. And we're going to only look at the first sentence in that verse right now. All scripture is given by the inspiration of God. Now, what that verse, what that clause, that sentence does, it establishes the weightiness of the scripture, right? It establishes the consequential nature of the scripture, that the scriptures are divine. Divine meaning it came directly from God. Anything that comes from God directly or even indirectly is divine. Why are they divine? The next clause says, and is profitable for doctrine. Profitable means that it supplies you what you need, and above that. A profitable business is a business that retains in revenue what it has spent, all of its expenses, and above and beyond expenses. So this verse is telling us, number one, that the scriptures are divine, that it gives you exactly what you need and above what you need. All right, let's go on to the next clause. It says that that the scriptures are for reproof. It tells you when you've done something wrong. It indicates to you when you've made the wrong turn. It disciplines you. Right? The scriptures are divine. They are profitable. They give you exactly what you need above and beyond. And they will let you know when you've done something wrong. The scriptures will discipline you. And what's next? It says the scriptures are for correction. Correction meaning that it will allow you to go back and fix it. Whatever you've done wrong, whatever turn you've made, it gives you the ability, it gives you the wherewithal to go back and fix what you've done wrong. The scriptures are holy, they're divine, they supply to you what you need and beyond what you need. They tell you when you've done something wrong, and they also give you the ability to go back and fix what you've done wrong. What else does it say? For instruction in righteousness. Whenever I see the word righteousness, the words in my right place in God comes to mind. Every time I read righteousness, the words in my right place in God is established. So the scriptures are holy, they're divine, they are profitable, they give you what you need and beyond what you need. They tell you when you've done something wrong. It gives you the ability to go fix it. And it gives you instructions to create your right place in God. So far what this verse has told us is what the scriptures are and why it is and what it causes in you. Right? Let's look at the 17th verse and see what else it has to say. That the man of God may be perfect. Now we understand that there's no such thing as perfection, right? And anytime you see the word perfection in the Bible, it actually means maturity, right? That the man of God may be mature, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. All right, so what is the point that I'm trying to make from this verse, right? This verse deals with three concepts, all right? The first concept is the scripture, the Holy Scriptures. The second concept was the man of God. And the third concept was the good works, right? But what is clear in this verse is that the overarching theme of these verses is the maintenance of the man of God. That the scriptures are more concerned about the maintenance, the well-being of the man of God compared to the good works. This verse talks almost 10 times more about the man of God's stability, the man of God's right standing, the man of God's reproof, the man of God's correction. This verse discussed that almost 10 times more than it discussed about the good works. And that's awesome to understand, because this lets us know that God inspired the Bible more so for your maintenance. That God was more concerned about your well-being, how well you are, your ability to lift, your stability in lifting. That God was so concerned about your well-being that he inspired words through the prophets, that he inspired words through the apostles for your well-being. Oftentimes when we think about the scriptures, we think the scriptures are giving to us to hand to others. But the scripture is there for us to understand them for someone else. And they are, in a sense. Right? The good works is an element. But as we can see in this verse, that the overarching theme and the purpose for the godly inspired scriptures is more so for your reproof, more so your right standing, more so your maturity. The scriptures are for you. God is concerned about you 10 times more than he's concerned about your good works. There's a relationship that you have with your calling and yourself, right? It's kind of like a plant in soil, right? God's plant of love emanates out of you, and the blossoms of that plant are the good works. Our ability to feed the hungry, our ability to maintain other people who are less fortunate than us. Those are the good works, right? But there are no good works, and the plant of love can't come out of you if the soil is not fertile. The plant of love that God has emanating from you must find root in you for foundation, for stability. So the soil becomes equally as important as the plant of love. The soil almost becomes an extension of that plant. No soil, no plant. No soil, no plant, no blossom. So you are equally as important as your calling. Your strength, your emotional stability, your ability to lift long term is equally as important as your church, is equally as important as that calling to preach, is equally as important as your business. Neglecting the maintenance of your strength is neglecting your calling. Take care of you. Maintaining you is maintaining your calling. All right, man, I gotta go. I hope I got this across. You are equally as important as your calling. You and your calling are one. All right, I gotta go. I say it every time I see you. I appreciate you showing up this week. I appreciate you showing up every week, including this one. My name is Jeff Staten, and this is Pressing Toward the Mark. With love.